Well, there we go, pilot and January, and a great way to start today's programme. And it's a special programme. Today I'm going to be talking to some guests about the ULHT and the paediatric services at Pilgrim Hospital. Now, I'm going to talk to you and just set the scene, and if I set the scene incorrectly, I know one of my guests will sort of put it right, and that's not a problem. That's not a problem at all. These guys are service users, and they have been campaigning for years and years and years about the services that we have at Pilgrim. So recently, there's been a discussion as to whether or not children's inpatient and paediatric service should continue at Pilgrim Hospital. And one of the concerns that is being voiced by the ULHT is the lack of staff. Currently, there's 4.5 full-time middle-grade doctors. That's going to reduce to 1 in July, and hospital bosses are saying that they need 8 full-time doctors. The Trust also has around 20 whole-time children's nurses, but only 17 are available to work in children's services, and the Trust say it needs 29. Now, if the services close, it will have a knock-on effect to both maternity and neonatal services. And you might say, well, what does that matter? Well, I'm going to ask Emma to explain why shortly. And it could result in the department being downgraded to midwifery only. So let me ask Emma to say who she is. Tell our listeners, Emma, who you are.
I'm Emma Wilcock. I'm a mother of 4 from Boston, Lincolnshire, and 2 of my children have benefited from neonatal and paediatric services at Boston Pilgrim Hospital.
Now, Emma, let me ask you to tell our listeners about your first pregnancy. Tell us what it was like.
My first pregnancy was very, very straightforward. For a first pregnancy, I had a really easy pregnancy and went overdue, but was admitted to Boston Pilgrim Hospital where my son was born, and less than 24 hours later I was sent home, healthy mum, healthy baby. Now,
let me ask you about your 4th pregnancy. How did that one go?
4th pregnancy was not quite so straightforward. With my 4th pregnancy, previous to my 4th pregnancy, I'd suffered a miscarriage, and so the doctors at Boston Pilgrim Hospital within the maternity unit and labour suite as well were very attentive. I had more tests, more scans, but unfortunately at 12 weeks I suffered some bleeding, so was taken to the maternity suite at Boston very quickly, where I was given a scan. Luckily everything was fine, but the doctor suggested that I return the following day for a follow-up scan, which I went to, and there was baby heart beating. It was absolutely wonderful to see. Sadly, at 17 weeks I suffered another bleed, so again was rushed to the maternity suite at Boston, where I was once again scanned, and once again there was baby happily waving at me, happy as Larry, causing us all a few problems, but that was just the very beginning of what was quite a troubling story. At 20 weeks I received a scan again at Pilgrim Hospital, and there it was discovered that I had a condition called placenta previa, which is where the placenta attaches itself at the bottom, so it would make a normal delivery almost impossible. So I was warned that I would have a C-section, but this could be carried out at Pilgrim Hospital, but I quickly became a high-risk mum. Then at 35 weeks pregnant, between 20 and 35 weeks, I was regularly checked up, had some more scans. 35 weeks pregnant, I suffered a bleed so extensive that I had to be rushed to Boston Pilgrim Hospital, where they thought I was going to have to deliver my 4th baby early by section. Luckily, I was able to stay at Pilgrim, and I was there for 5 days as an inpatient. And at 36 weeks on the dot, my daughter Maya was born by caesarean section. Unfortunately, she was struggling to breathe. So the consultant paediatrics on the neonatal ward at Pilgrim rushed to labour suite. They intubated her and inserted a chest drain, but Maya needed a little bit more care, so she was transferred to Sheffield Children's Hospital, where she received a couple of days of high dependency care, and then she was transferred to neonatal back at Boston for around 2 weeks. She had a week on the neonatal unit where they helped her with feeding, they helped me look after this very, very small baby, and we also had a week in their transitional care unit, which is where myself, my husband and our daughter could spend time with our fourth baby, who's called Maya. We could get to know her routine. And yeah, we went home 2 weeks later.
Now, my understanding, and I could be wrong, if these changes go through, it will impact the maternity and neonatal services.
Yeah.
If you had that pregnancy in the same circumstances, Emma, after these changes had been introduced, what would be the impact?
There would be a massive impact. For a start, all of my appointments that I had were at Boston Pilgrim Hospital, which I am very lucky. I do live very close to the Pilgrim Hospital, but if these changes came into effect, I would have then had all of my appointments at Lincoln or Peterborough or Nottingham or whichever hospital would have an appointment for me, because if you didn't have the maternity unit at Pilgrim and the maternity services, the antenatal services, then all of those appointments would have to be carried out at a different hospital. It also would have meant that with my condition, I was at a high risk of going into spontaneous labour. With me living in Boston and having such a quick availability to Pilgrim, I was able to stay at home with my husband and our youngest daughter, which was really, really vital at that time, because it was a worrying situation to be in. But it also meant that I didn't have to go and stay over in a hospital for an extended period. I could stay at home, it's absolutely vital. As a pregnant woman with other children and other responsibilities at home, there is no greater pressure of feeling completely helpless in a hospital that's 40, 50 miles away.
So we spoke off air, we both lived quite close to the hospital, so you had that comfort feel about that, and that must have taken a lot of anxiety away, not just from you, but from your husband as well, and the rest of the family, the extended family. If you were in the same circumstances and you had to go, you knew that you were going to go to Boston, and you knew that Boston were not going to deal with you, they were going to forward you on as a service user, either to Lincoln, to Grantham, to Nottingham. How would you feel, particularly, if I can ask this, as a young mum, how would you feel as a young mum if you were in that circumstance, do you think?
Very nervous, very anxious, very scared, and very emotional. Pregnant women, as a rule, we are highly hormonal and emotional. So to be catapulted into a world that's unknown, somewhere that you don't know, somewhere that you're not familiar with, somewhere that perhaps you don't have friends and family, for those people who aren't lucky enough to have extended family, for those people who maybe rely on friends for childcare or for support, if you're sent to a hospital that's even further away, you are then further away from that help and support. And when you are having a baby, you need all the support that you can get.
Now, I know, I didn't know, but I now that neonatal services are there to support babies who are born premature, or babies who are born with some difficulty. Do you have any idea, as somebody who's used the service as a mother, how frequently neonatal services are used in a hospital like Pilgrim? Is it a common occurrence?
Yeah, the neonatal unit is always busy, always very busy. And I have to, while I'm here, I have to praise the staff. There are no words that can express my sincere gratitude to the nurses and doctors that worked on my daughter. That unit is busy. While I was there were several other mums either with babies on the neonatal unit or in the transitional care unit, because it is all one unit. It's not, the rooms are separate, but it's the same nurses that are looking after you throughout. And it's that, having that care and support while you're in hospital. I was a mum of, at that point I was a mum of 3, so to have a 4th baby who was not just early but poorly, I was honestly I couldn't believe that it happened. But to have that care and support of those nurses and my family made what is still quite an emotionally charged episode and event, it did ease it at the time. And to have everyone around me knowing that I had that support, it makes all the difference.
Okay, Emma, thank you so much for sharing that with us. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back. We'll be talking to Well, you join me in the afternoon show. Excuse me, we're here in the studio. We've got a studio full of guests. We've just heard from Emma, somebody who has used the services at the paediatric services at Pilgrim Hospital. And we're going to talk to Ava now. Hello, Ava, how are you?
Hi, I'm great.
Now, tell our listeners, Ava, who you are.
Well, I'm a mother of 5, grandmother and great-grandmother. So I've been in a lot of children's wards throughout my life. And I owe the medical profession a great gift of gratitude, because they saved my 4th baby's life.
Okay, and we're talking today about the proposed changes that might happen to the paediatric services at the Pilgrim Hospital. There was a meeting on the 27th of April, and a decision was supposed to have been taken, but it's been deferred. And we've heard from Emma, who has used the services there, and Emma has explained if these services were to change, what the impact would be on people who were young ladies who were pregnant, young mothers. You felt really strong about this, haven't you, Ava?
Yes, I have.
Why?
Well, I sat through 3 hours of the ULHT board on Friday, and it became quickly apparent that they appeared to be out of touch, really, with the human race.
Right. Okay. And you were compelled to write a protest song.
Yes.
And why did you write I mean, I get wound up with all sorts of things, but I've never yet written a protest song. Why did you choose to write a protest song?
I believed that watching the board for the 3 hours, that really they were not really answering truthfully what was really going on.
Okay. You're going to sing that song now, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
So I'll just ask Philip. Okay. Now, we've got the music on the system. We've not rehearsed this, have we?
No, totally live.
No, I've never ever done this on my show before. If this goes wrong, we're going to start again, and if it does go wrong, it'll be my fault, not yours. Now, you can hear me through the headphones.
Yes, I can.
I'm going to play the music, and you're going to start singing whenever you want, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to this. This is Ava, and a protest song that she has written, Save Our Children's Services.
Problem started 3 years ago. ULHT board doesn't know how to fix the problem for you. They've gone away to get more proof. We've only 4 weeks to raise the roof to save our children's services for you. Save children's ward, save neonatal, save maternity, save A and E. We join together here today to save children's services is our way with SoS Pilgrim for you. Well, it goes like this, winning is all, saving lives is our call, praying, hallelujah. Save children's ward, save neonatal, save maternity, save A and E. So fight the campaign with all your might. Facebook, email and Twitter into the night. Together we can make the difference through you. ULHT need to know, keeping essential service the way to go, saving our children, hallelujah. Save children's ward, save neonatal, save maternity, save A E, save children's ward, save neonatal, save maternity, save A and E.
I don't know what to say, Ava. That was beautiful. You are so brave to write that and then come into here and sing that to the 6,500 people that are listening to us right now. I think it's marvellous. I think you are brilliant. And if I had that golden button here, I'd be putting you right through.
Oh, bless you.
Well, so where did you get the music? Let's say a few thank yous to some people, first of all.
Right, I found the track on YouTube. It's a guitar backing from Blonde Music Girl 18.
Well, that's a really nice piece of music,
And
isn't
she's
it?
had over 1 million hits on that.
Fantastic.
And it's really, really beautiful.
Well, I'll stick the details of that up. We will be posting this interview with Emma and with Ava and with Philip, who we're going to talk to after we do the travel in a minute, onto our Facebook page. So I will put the acknowledgement and the link up to Blonde Music Girl as well. Ava, what's the future for you in terms of what's happening now, and how are you going to stay involved?
I think now I've started, okay, I know I've only been around a short while, I am determined that there's going to be true transparency in what is really happening. We, the general public, only found out last week what was going on, and I believe it basically should go up the tree and go national with this, because we cannot be without a children's ward, neonatal, etc. If we do, lives will be lost. You know, ULHT should care. At the moment, from personal, what I saw last week, they seem really, really like obscure. They don't. They were sitting there in the room, but really they were in their heads, not their hearts.
Okay. Ava, sorry, let me just say thank you very much for coming in. We're going to take a short break. We're here, we're talking about Pilgrim Hospital, we're talking about paediatric services. We've heard from Emma and from Ava, and it's now time to say hello to Philip.
Good afternoon, Stu.
How are you?
Very well, and many thanks to you for bringing us in today to get the message out to people of Boston and the south and east of the county.
Okay. No problem. We're a community radio station. This is what we should be doing. Philip, tell our listeners who you are, please.
Philip Bosworth. I moved here many years ago. I've been 25 years in the county, and we started the Boston Focus Group with friends in August 2015 in reaction to the stories we were hearing from GPs and from people inside the trust about the sustainability and transformation plan and the financial-led top-down cuts that we were seeing were going to be coming in, and we felt that the NHS services in Lincolnshire would be seriously affected with regard to local delivery of major services, which was the reason why Pilgrim District Hospital was built.
Now, at the top of the show, I gave a bit of an overview of what I thought my understanding was of the situation. Was that fairly accurate?
Yeah, I mean, the problem has been looming for many years. I think there's a confidence and trust issue. The trust knows it can't employ staff directly, and it's spending $30 million a year on agency staff for the last number of years.
And of course, Emma spoke about the trouble that young mothers would face if these changes were made, particularly if they had to go to Lincoln, Grantham, Nottingham, wherever it was, all this sort of travel and cost and things like that. But the bigger picture is that it has an impact on the whole family unit, doesn't it?
It does indeed. I mean, it's not just going to the hospital and expecting to get a service. It impacts on families who perhaps can't afford transport, who can't get to not just Lincoln, it could be Nottingham, Leicester, Peterborough, Kings Lynn, it could be way out of the county. When you cut the number of beds from 19 down to 8, the impact is felt not just in Boston but around the county. And don't forget, this is the second largest ceremonial county, the fourth largest county in Lincolnshire alone, with 750,000 people in the UK. So we are a rural county, and the distances between Pilgrim and Lincoln are just unbelievable when it comes to risk.
Now, people are probably listening to this, Philip, and thinking, I didn't realise this, and actually I feel quite compassionate about this, and I want to get involved in this. What do people do?
Well, awareness is key. So look at our Facebook pages, SoS Pilgrim, SOS Call to Action, and watch the press, because we are going to be holding a public meeting soon where we're going to be inviting our MP, who said he will attend, Matt Warman, and we're going to be inviting ULHT, the CCG, the Doctors Medical Committee, Health Watch. Health Watch are behind us. They raised key questions on Friday's meeting in public at Sleaford. And as Ava quite rightly says, it was dismay that we felt when we heard the excuses, when they couldn't even ask one non-exec director's question, which was, how many beds can you support from Pilgrim? In fact, they're cutting the beds down, and the CQC said they should restore them back to 19, sets a destabilisation. That makes it difficult to employ and recruit. And once that sets in, then no matter how much agency staff they pay every year, they're not going to attract the doctors and the nurses into this county. I just looked back this morning over the last 7 months, and the bad news in the press about safety, about cuts, about the 150 million that they're paying out on negligence, this all pales into insignificance when you consider the effects on local families and their children and ability to actually get to hospital, never mind just at Pilgrim, but how do people get to outpatient appointments in Lincoln if they can't afford it? Public transport in Lincolnshire is a nightmare, and with more vehicular traffic over the past 25 years, the road system hasn't been improved in the south and east of the county. It's just a nightmare facing families. I feel for them so much. My boys have grown up, but you know, there are things happening around the country. For example, in Worcester there's an inquest, exactly the situation where a boy was transferred 20 miles and died because he was transferred 20 miles away from a hospital to another hospital, one that was going to close and had lost its paediatric services. This is the writing on the wall for this region, for Pilgrim and for families.
Now, if the listeners would like to express how they're feeling, are there people they can write to?
Well, let's face this, there's a financial cuts. It comes from the top, that's government. We have an MP, Matt Warman, and believe me, you need to write in your thousands. People power can change, but it's going to take thousands of letters across the 750,000 people in Lincolnshire. Write to your MPs, write to your county councillors, write to Boston Borough Council. Ask them why aren't they shouting from the hilltops, shouting from the rooftops in Boston, saying, why are you cutting our services? Why are you putting our children at risk? And it's not just the risk for families, it's GPs who have families. Everybody feels the same. And of course the knock-on effect, this is what nobody realises, the knock-on effect from taking paediatrics away is neonatal losing.
Okay.
Maternity turns into midwifery-led, no consultant. And there are other knock-on effects that the consultants tell us throughout the hospital for surgical services, anaesthetist, stroke, vascular, they're all connected. Pilgrim District Hospital is a comorbidity district general hospital that was started to serve a lot of people, 250,000 in the eastern region. We have to do something about it. You have to do something about it, because all of you, in some way or another, are going to be affected by this slash, trash and plundering of our NHS services.
Now, you might be sat there thinking, well, actually, it doesn't affect me. I'm of that age. But maybe it may affect your children. If you've got young girls, grandchildren, all that sort of stuff. And if it goes, you could argue it goes and it will never come back. So maybe Philip's call to arms for this is actually the way to go. Just to conclude, Philip, I know that the Mayor of Skegness and Skegness Council have organised a meeting about this, haven't they?
Yes, they have. They've organised a council meeting, Councillor Danny Brooks, which is Thursday evening at the Town Hall from 7 till 9. We are in touch with the press and media, Kate Hemingway at Calendar, and we hope ITV Calendar, even BBC Look North and the local radio stations will publicise their meeting. Please go along. We're going, and we're also going to be arranging a meeting in Boston. Watch the press, watch the Facebook pages. It's important that you come out in your thousands and support.
I know our mayor, Bernard Rush,
Indeed.
whatever name he wants to use this week, but Brian is very supportive of this, isn't he?
He is indeed, and Brian will be going with us hopefully on Thursday, and Brian is very supportive. As the mayor, he feels very strongly for the people of Boston and the surrounding area. He is going to help, and we're going to form this public meeting. Please come along. Please, all of you come, as many as of you can. We'll try and have it later in the afternoon, early evening, but do come, make your voices heard. We get one chance at this, because once services are lost, once they're closed, we see they never reopen. And
Have Boston Borough Council, are they organising the meeting?
no, not a thing, not a word from Boston Borough Council. In fact, I think, if you've got a county councillor and a local councillor, you should be ringing them and asking what they're doing for the people who elected them.
Okay. Philip, thank you for coming in. You're welcome in here anytime you want to come in and update the community about what's happening. Please, you're welcome. Ava, again, thank you so much for coming in, and thank you for singing your song. And Emma, just over the screen to my right, thank you for coming in. If you want more information, I'll ask Philip, just again, what are the websites or the Facebook pages,
Okay,
Philip?
the website is the bostonfocusgroup.org, but the Facebook pages where we are responsive are SoS Pilgrim and SOS Call to Action. Post on there, like, share. We need support in thousands. It's only people power that can change this politically led cuts which are causing the problems in Lincolnshire.
Philip, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for Ava. That was a beautiful song.
It was, thank you. Okay. And, one more thing.
Yeah, one more thing. There is a campaign on 38 Degrees. Google it.
Oh, right.
Please go for that one as well. We're going to start a new campaign on change and also a new campaign on the government's website. We had one before that raised 10,000. There are 750,000 people in Lincolnshire. At some point or other, probably the majority of us can be affected by service cuts. So watch out, sign up, come to the meetings, make your voices heard, please.
Okay, Philip, thank you ever so much. We're going to go into...
Stu Davidson on Boston's 107 Endeavour FM.